Reading for Wildlife. Written and illustrated by Zella, a project by Zella and Friends. An elephant for breakfast.
Chapter 20. The Chase. As they hurried down the road, Josephine said, "Someone has to ring the police and call an ambulance too. This is getting out of hand. And Cosmo, you need a doctor." Uncle Cosmo agreed. "Good idea, Josephine. Why don't you ring the police and call an ambulance? Tell them it's urgent. We haven't a moment to spare. I want to catch the little rotters who have infiltrated my factory. I need to know who it is and stop them from causing more harm." With Uncle Cosmo leading them back to the pink house at the start of the road, the children felt brave and fearless. "Okay," said Josephine. "I left my handbag and phone at your house, Rose." As they all passed 17 Paradise Road, Rose took Josephine inside Wisteria House to find the small crocodile handbag. At Wisteria House, Josephine rang the police. She reported an armed break-in at 1 Paradise Road. Just as she hung up, Josephine remembered something. She paused and redialed. "Ambulance. There are 2 men unconscious and tied up in the garden shed at 52 Paradise Road." "No, I do not know what happened to them, but they are in urgent need of medical attention," said Josephine, and hung up swiftly. "Let's go," she said. Meanwhile, Johnny and Bella led Uncle Cosmo, Freddie and Tom into their house. As they entered, it was so quiet that they thought there was no one there. The house was a mess. They walked around the ground floor looking for the crooked policeman. No one. They went upstairs. Nothing. They walked into the first bedroom. It was empty. But the door on the other side of the room was closed, so they tiptoed across the bedroom towards it. They were halfway across the room when the door behind them slammed. It was the skinny policeman. Everyone froze. "Were you missing us?" he asked as he stepped out from behind the door. Then he grabbed Bella by her thick black hair and pointed his gun at her temple. "Tie them up, George." George pulled Bella's arms roughly behind her and cuffed them tightly with rope. It hurt. Uncle Cosmo looked at the policeman. "George and Patrick, what are you doing here? You should be at work in the factory." "You're not the boss here," Patrick snarled, standing as tall as he could. He glared at Uncle Cosmo. George asked aggressively, "Whose house is this?" He was pointing his gun at Uncle Cosmo. "Ours," said Bella and Johnny together. "You told us you had no tea chest," sneered Patrick. "But guess what we've found in the garden? Empty. Where did you hide the chocolate, you nasty little blighters?" No one answered. They had not seen Uncle Crispin hide the chocolate. The 2 men then moved from one room to the next, tipping up furniture and tearing out drawers. They looked under beds, behind doors, almost everywhere. "It must be here somewhere. You little skunk," Patrick said, this time pulling Tom upwards by his hair. "He doesn't even live here," said Bella. "Pick on someone your own size," growled Uncle Cosmo. "Pull my hair, you dirty rat." In different circumstances, this might have been funny, as Uncle Cosmo had barely a hair on his shiny head. But no one laughed. "So where is it?" yelled Patrick, who had moved very close to Uncle Cosmo's face while losing his temper. He was angry at being called a dirty rat. Its pink colour was not the only odd thing about One Paradise Road. It had originally been built with many half-levels. These quirky features had mostly been removed during some renovation work, but there remained an underfloor cupboard, accessed through a type of trapdoor. Fortunately, burglars are lazy creatures. It's how they ended up in the game they are in. They rarely think of looking up, or down for that matter. They are generally in a hurry and look in only the most obvious places. The two ruffians continued to march the children and Uncle Cosmo through the house, goading them, sometimes threatening them. But they were no nearer to discovering the location of the chocolate. When they got to the office where the secret underfloor cupboard was, the children stood very still. They did not know where Uncle Crispin had hidden the chocolate, but the trapdoor hid a half-height room, surely big enough to hide the large blocks of chocolate.
With enormous thanks to Jonathan Lemalu. Here is how you can help. Share the story. Adopt an animal. Visit when you can. Educate yourself. Donate to a conservation charity. To find out more about Reading for Wildlife, visit zellahunter.com or at Lady Zella Books, or follow the Reading for Wildlife YouTube channel.